Hey, what is up guys, Guitar Rock here, welcome back to another Blue Archive video. Let's talk about this coming patch. What are we having in terms of the students and also which one you're going to be looking forward to in the current patch notes. Alright, first things first, the one that's coming tomorrow. Alright, this particular week we got 3-star Kasumi, we got 3-star Ichika, and also we got Iori and of course Megu. Now keep in mind, all 4 of these students right here, you can practically just skip them because they are in the standard banner. And none of them are particularly going to be super meta. Maybe except for Iori. I do understand that if you are going to be able to use her a lot in a lot of situations like PvP and of course in also plenty of PvE scenarios as well, I can see why a lot of players would want Iori. I get that, right? But other than that, I still think that you know, with all of the characters or all of the students coming right after them, right now is going to be a good time to start saving, not spending, right? So with that being said, let's talk about everything that's coming up in the particular patch notes. We're going to look at all of the things coming up right here. So Kasumi, Ichika, Iori, Megu, these are going to be the returning characters right here. And then right after, we're going to have this particular one, which is going to be Cheerleader Utaha, Kotori, Cheerleader, Noa, and Tracksuit Haruna. As per usual, again, you can see that's coming later on. And of course, Tracksuit Yuuka and Tracksuit Mari, 8 characters, 8 students, right? Okay, so if you would to pull one out of all of these characters, as you can see, they are introducing not just 4, not just 8, but 10 students. These 2, Tracksuit Yuuka and Tracksuit Mari right here, are going to be the limited ones. And that's going to be the one that ideally players should anticipate, right? Especially if you are newer. Alright, so keep in mind that's going to be something to consider. But with that, I will go through every single students and why you should get them or shouldn't get them. Now first, let's talk about Kasumi and what she's all about. So if you guys are not aware, I am a proud owner of Kasumi myself. Alright, so I do use her occasionally here and there, and I get that she is pretty strong in some circumstances. I actually do build her, right? She's not just there for fun. She's level 90, you can see T9 and everything. She is 4-star though, but you can see she's a character that is focused to decrease the defense, alright? And also can do damage right here, right? Focus on doing that. And also she has an ability to attack enemies in the circular area, increase crit, and again she will deal more damage every 3rd use of her EX skill. Now ideally, the way you want to use Kasumi is in the Kurokage raids alongside with Swimsuit Hanako, right? But there's a better character that can do that to be in that particular slot, and that is none other than Kikyao right here. So Kikyao is supposed to be the best in slot in terms of like you want to pair with Swimsuit Hanako. She can actually do the same thing as you can see, decrease defense, alright, 28% right here. As opposed to Kasumi's 33%, but just because Kasumi does a little bit more defense reduction, Kikyao sacrificed that by having a cost reduction in EX skills. As you can see right here on the sub skill, this is going to make you make it much faster for you to rotate amongst your skills, and she also gives boost in terms of, as you can see, sonic effectiveness for allies. Alright, this is going to basically increase based on more sonic type characters that you have in your team. Alright, go up to 40%. So that basically makes up for it. The basic skill and sub skill makes up for the slightly less defense reduction that she has. So Kikyao is going to be the best complementary character or student to pair with Swimsuit Hanako. I would say Kasumi is the second best probably, right? I guess if you don't have Kikyao, you can use Kasumi in that particular slot specifically. But in most cases, I feel like you don't really need to pull for her specifically if you are going to, if you are like new, right? You're not trying to do the higher difficulty rates, you are going to borrow Swimsuit Hanako anyway. So that's going to be where it is. So keep that in mind. But again, she's not bad. Like I said, I feel like a lot of players that do not have like a decent Sonic type AoE character, she can fit that slot. Now what about Ichika? Ichika is going to be in the same position. I'm a big fan of Mob-chan. I never really built mine, alright, because she's going to be much more expensive to use. Number one, she's a 6 cost, so if you want to use her, you are going to basically need a cost half reduction student. Right, everything else is pretty good. Increase on effectiveness, this one applies to herself, and increase accuracy, and deals damage to enemies that are not taking cover. So I guess she can be a good character for a 2nd or 3rd team if you're trying to tackle Kurokage overall. That's going to be where her role comes in. She has a big massive AoE similar to Hina in that cone ship area, but other than that, she's just not a top priority, right? Because going to be a little bit more expensive to build. I mean, you guys are aware by now, building DPS characters or DPS students generally are just so expensive, and if she's a DPS student, that means if you are pulling for her, you ideally want to like get her up right to 5-star or even UE40 and stuff to benefit from the additional stuff. So makes it way harder to recommend generally for the time being because of all the students that we are getting. Now next up, we also have Iori. Now Iori, obviously, if you don't have a copy yet, I would recommend trying to get her, but one important thing to note is Iori is farmable. Alright, she is not someone that you need to rush to get. She's definitely one of the strongest character in the game, but you can farm her, especially right now we still have the 2x, right? You can be obtained, she can be obtained in the stage 14-3 right here, alright, and 20-3, right? But I've already UE50 mine, so she is going to be one of the strongest character in the game in terms of trying to do PvP. Definitely a very good option. She can do 3 hits for 3 costs, insane value. Generally, highly recommend you guys to build her if you guys haven't already. But to pull her, I would say just, you know, for now just farm her, right? That's going to be my advice. Last but not least, Megu. She's going to be a little bit more niche in the situation that you can use her mostly in drills. Maybe sometimes you can occasionally use her in PvP. That's where she pretty much shines. But she's also on a slightly more expensive side in terms of the EX skill cost. But being a flamethrower character, she's actually pretty good, right? She can also use this particular skill to do damage occasionally in a circular area. And she's much more of a, you know, front tank hybrid DPS character in that case, right? And that's going to be where she shines. She's definitely not like a high priority in terms of raids, right? So these are the 4 students where they shine generally. If you have them, you know, I feel like Iori is the one that you want to build, but the rest you can pretty much, you can get away with not having them. But that's not to say that they are bad, right? Like I mentioned, there's definitely usage for them. Now Tracksuit Yuuka, Tracksuit Mari, Cheerleader Utaha, Cheerleader Kotori, and of course Noa, and of course Tracksuit Haruna. Now let's talk a little bit more about this. Now this is the one that you want to be focused on. Now as you can see, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 banners running at the same time. So preferably you skip these 4, and if you want to pull, Tracksuit Yuuka should be the priority, should be your focus. Now let's talk a little bit more about why. Now Tracksuit Yuuka is someone that a lot of new players should consider getting because she's pretty much the best in slot for trying to do the higher difficulty rates for both Gauss and of course Shirokuro. Now what makes her really good is she has the ability to move your students across the map and give them shield. Alright, that's going to be what is important. The barrier is going to be where she shines. Now you might be wondering, there's a lot of students that can do that, right? But the problem is most students are going to be quite subpar compared to her, right? I've tried using other characters like Kotori before, and she's just way better. There's also Swimsuit Shizuko for the special slot, but Tracksuit Yuuka, trust me when I say this, she's gonna make your life a lot more easier. Alright, in those 2 bosses where you need them, you are going to notice why you're going to need her eventually, right? So you can see she is going to cast the healing right here, occasionally increase attack speed, and also she increased the Misty effectiveness, right? But where you want to use her is just mostly for the EX skill. Now what makes her really good as well for newer players, mind you, is going to be her ability to be extremely budget friendly. Alright, you pull for her, and then ideally for someone like who is a tank, alright, who is a support character, it's going to be much easier for you to pull your own, and then you can borrow DPS. 2 reasons, right? Number 1 is way cheaper, because for DPS characters, ideally you want to power them up. You cannot just use them at 3 stars or 4 stars, right? You ideally want to get them to 5 stars, if it's possible, UE40 or even UE50 them. That's very expensive for new players to do, definitely, but for Tracksuit Yuuka, trust me when I say this, she works very good at just 3 stars. Alright, if you can get her a little bit to 4 star, increase her HP a little bit more. In most situations, at 4 stars, I guarantee you, even in insane rates, she will be just fine. Alright, she's going to, you're basically unlocking most of her potential. Just get her gears up and then just max her EX skill. She's pretty much going to do that for you. Definitely, highly recommend her. If you don't get her, you will have to wait 1 whole year for her to rerun. That's going to be a long time. I'm not sure how many Gauss or Shirokuro raids we'll have, but definitely when those comes, you are going to feel her importance. Now again, if you don't have her, you can still get away with, you're not trying to borrow her as a whole, I understand that, but the truth is, like I mentioned, it's probably going to be much easier for you to borrow a DPS, a much cheaper budget option for you as well. You just focus on your supports and you borrow DPS instead. Now another character that is going to come alongside with her is going to be Tracksuit Mari. So here's where it gets a little bit tricky, right? So Tracksuit Mari, even though she is a sort of like a AoE healer, but it really depends on the positioning. So it's not as easy as you think because of how you want to position her, and sometimes you cannot control where she's going to go because she's going to try to take cover, so which is what makes her a little bit much more finicky in certain stages. So you cannot control her circular area because she's just going to try to heal surrounding her, and if there's an ally near her, then good. But some of the allies, they would like move further away from her and they try to take cover further away from her, right? So I feel like Koharu is better in most cases because you can choose and move around the circle accordingly, whereas for Tracksuit Mari, it's going to be quite dependent on just where she's at, right? So positioning dependent, similar to Ibuki versus Kotama in that case. So her basic skill, as you can see, recovers healing as well, and she also have increased healing and also more healing at the end. Now, is she absolutely a must-have? I would say no, because right now we have a lot of other options, including Kokona. Alright, we also have other options for single target healer. Kokona is like very good in the recent Hieronymus as well, right? Of course, Idol Mary, if you guys did pull for her, she's also another good option to be able to heal. And then of course, last but not least, Koharu, which is free. You can buy her from the shop. So why would you need a specific student that does what Koharu can do, and Koharu can also do damage as well, which is kind of insane, right? So very flexible unit right here. Man, Koharu is actually quite broken if you think about it. I'm surprised she's not power crap yet, but considering that she's free, please get her from the, I believe it was Total Assault or Grand Assault shop, right? So buy her shards as much as you can, max her as soon as you can. But regardless, Tracksuit Mari, I feel like it's not the priority. For most players, it's going to be Tracksuit Yuuka. Right, so now moving on to the next few targets, you can see we are also going to have the Cheerleader Utaha, the Cheerleader Kotori. So let's talk about these two first. I would say Cheerleader Kotori is probably the slightly better one between the two because she is going to be in a lot of situations much more flexible. I haven't built mine yet, I got her recently. She is going to do damage in the fan shape area, and she's a 3 cost, right? So one of the cheaper options if you're looking for an AoE explosive type. But if you already have like Mutsuki or Aru build, those are 4 costs, but she's going to be a little bit better. Is it justify the upgrade or worth it for you to build a whole new student, whole character all over again, right? Because if you are a day 1 player, or if you start since 1 or 2 years ago, your Mutsuki or your Aru probably already like close to 5-star or even close to max, right? So in most cases, that's why most students, most people are just not going to build her. But she's actually pretty decent because she's a 3 cost as opposed to a 4 cost, right? Another character is going to be Cheerleader Utaha. So I'm going to be honest, I almost never use her. I guess she can be used in some situations. Cost is a little bit on the higher side. She can summon turret and do a few different things. But again, she's going to be a slightly more niche student right here that you might find usage occasionally here and there in special situations, but in most cases not. So Noa and Tracksuit Haruna are another 2 students that you can consider. Would be also more on niche side in terms of like where it is. I feel like Noa is one of the few focus fire character, you know, like besides Sakurako. If you have her, she's good. She can decrease defense, she can force you to attack one particular target, extremely good in Gauss, right? But every single part of a kit elsewhere is it's just whatever, right? Ideally, you just want to use her for the focus fire. Now, if that's the situation that you need her to be at, then good, right? Gauss is practically just where you need that particular focus fire ability, because there's like illusion and you want to force the students to just hit the main one, right? But there's also going to be substitute for her. That's going to be none other than Swimsuit Izuna, and the other one is going to be Sakurako, like I mentioned. Now, Tracksuit Haruna, on the other hand, is going to be a special student. She's also going to be one student that can move characters around. Now, some of you guys might be asking, okay, can she replace Tracksuit Yuuka? No, sadly no. It is going to be very difficult to replace Tracksuit Yuuka. A lot of people really want to not pull for Tracksuit Yuuka, but she just doesn't do that. She moves 4 allies, recovers healing SHP, but Tracksuit Yuuka is better because she doesn't heal, she gives shield. And in situations where those shines, for example like in Gauss or in a Shirokuro, right? In Gauss specifically, healing gets reduced by like 80% or something, right? So you need shield. So therefore, she doesn't replace Tracksuit Yuuka in that particular scenario. As for the basic skill, she's going to do damage here, decrease defense, okay, that's going to be whatever. Increase healing right there and increase ally attack. She's going to be a much more niche situation. I would say Tracksuit Yuuka Haruna is like going to be subsided by Tracksuit Yuuka as well. Also, I don't think you want to like put any special slot student that is not buff based, especially right now with Kisaki, right? You want to have Kisaki in your special slot, and then one more character either later on is going to be Rio, and of course for now you want to put like either Ako or New Year Fuuka, right? Just to be able to give you the cost reduction. You don't want to like bloat your special slot student because you only can use 2, right? Kisaki has to be one of it because she is going to give you the EX skill advantage. Now if you're trying to compete in the higher rankings ladder, that's going to be the utmost importance, right? So no way you're just going to put somebody that only move characters around. So that has to be in your striker slot because you get 4 options, way more flexible there. Plus Tracksuit Yuuka is someone that can tank for you. She can also go to the front and take hits. You don't need to bring one more tank, right? Because if you bring Tracksuit Haruna, somebody that moves you around, you're taking one special slot away. Number one. Number two, now you have to bring one more tank, right? You're like wasting 2 slots for 2 different things specifically. So Tracksuit Yuuka, still the best one. Ideally in that particular case, it's just going to be hard to replace her. So pretty much, those are the students. Those are where they shine. Talk about the rest of the stuff. As you can see, Trip Trap Train. This is a very good event. I would highly consider you guys to read this particular one. I definitely do love this event back then. One of the best story in my opinion, right? And of course, we got some of these additional shell books that you can buy from the special shop. They also will be adding some of the events on your mark that will be like, oh, that means you can claim Tracksuit Hasumi for free if you guys haven't already. I believe she will be given to you right there. So that's going to be very, very good. Of course, as you can see, we also got Joint Firing Drill that will be available after the maintenance. Very, very good. We're going to try that out tomorrow as it goes. Grand Assault Bina. So that is going to be something that we'll worry about later on, which is not this week but next week. So pretty much Grand Assault Bina, I think like by now everybody knows. Mika's probably going to carry it. Let's see, what is the heavy armor, which is yellow? Alright, Mika. Special armor, that's going to be very interesting. I believe either Wakamo or you can maybe use Shiroko Terror for that. Elastic armor is going to be very, very interesting one, right? So we got a purple DPS, something like either the Maid Midori or Maid Momoi should be able to carry that particular one, but we'll see. Alright, we're going to try it out when that comes out. And of course, double rewards for campaign, double rewards for commission and normal. Make sure you guys pay attention accordingly. That's going to be happening next week. Alright, so with that being said, that's going to be it for this particular video. I hope you guys are able to look at things carefully. Make sure you guys are pulling for the right students for your account. I do think that Tracksuit Yuuka, if you guys haven't already, do obtain her. She's going to be the best one by far. If not, just say for now. Alright, we're going to have plenty more things coming soon. After Tracksuit Yuuka, I believe New Year Musuki is going to be the next limited students that you want to consider looking out for. Check out my roadmap. I'll try to link it in the description if you guys haven't seen that already. As per usual, subscribe, give this video a like. Have a nice day. Goodbye.